Hi, Honest Discussioner here. I wrote a nice response to Veritas, Telemonstros, and Dawa Films, who I'll be referring to mainly as Rational Dawn. But really seems like everyone has already gone over about 30 times the majority of what I had to say. So instead, I'll be putting it up on my website, link in the sidebar, and if Rational Dawn or anyone else wants to review it, I'll gloss over some of the points now, though. Suffice it to say, in brief, that Rational Dawn seems to be attacking the idea that an atheist can be an atheist due to there not being enough evidence to believe in such a proposition. There have been many points made by Veritas et al. In regards to this, but the one that they all seem to be going with is absence of evidence does not equal evidence of absence. Now, I would agree with them on this, especially when they clarify and state that this is only the case if we should not expect to see evidence for something. Veritas discusses the example of an elephant versus a mosquito in the room, which Smartmouth Pundit had a very good response to that as well, link in the sidebar. Basically, if we don't see an elephant in the room, then the lack of evidence should be convincing, since we would expect it to be easy to find, whereas a mosquito, we could look for hours, it could be there, but it could be evading us. Rational Dawn is claiming that God is the mosquito, so we are not justified in claiming there is no existing God if we don't see evidence of one. What Rational Dawn is focusing on is the justification of atheism, believing that atheism is something that needs to be justified, and negative atheism is not justified as it is purported to be held due to the lack of evidence for God, which does not lead to the conclusion that there is no God. So I'd like to propose a hypothetical situation and ask the members of Rational Dawn what their conclusion would be, and let's stick with the mosquito. You are trapped in a room, and you find out this room is the biggest room ever made, and it would take you far longer than your lifespan to search the entirety of this room and all of the random things that have been placed throughout it. So you search for 20 years, and in all of this time, you have never come across a mosquito or any evidence of a mosquito. So, in this hypothetical situation, what is your view on the proposition there is a mosquito in the room? I see really just three possible answers here. So do you think the proposition is true? Do you think it is false? Or do you not have enough information to go on? Now, if you say that true, I'd really like to know how that belief would be justified. But I really think most people would either think that there is no mosquito, or that they aren't entirely sure, though maybe they would lean towards there not being one. So perhaps you'll say that it's merely an I don't know, which the correlation to the religious debate would be agnosticism and not atheism. So atheists still aren't justified and should at least stop calling themselves atheists. But let me ask you one more question then. In this room, you can only carry so much with you, and you happen along a bottle of mosquito repellent among the random items that were placed in the room. Are you going to toss aside food or water or medical supplies in order to carry that repellent? You haven't seen a mosquito, but absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. And the same applies to whether there is a mosquito with malaria. So, as an agnostic on whether or not there is a mosquito with malaria, would you be unsure of whether to bring along this repellent? If so, how long would you think about it? Or maybe you wouldn't think about it at all. Maybe since it appeared as though no mosquitoes were in the room, you wouldn't even think about bringing along the repellent to keep them away from you. Yes, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, but lack of evidence of absence is not evidence of presence. Have a nice day. Honest Discussioner, out.